Alright, so this is going to be part 4 to what if Deku had D4C as a quirk. So let's just roll the intro.
They took it to 10. Let me tell you how I come through with the 1-2, kicking shit like kung fu. Treat a bad bitch like she average. I'm a savage, little hoe, what you want do? I'm about cash if the raw fast. I'ma get that little nigga by any means.
Alright, so in the last episode we just got done with the USJ. So in this part we're actually going to go through the sports festival in the week prior to that. So for the training, okay, let's not get into the training yet. So it'd be, normal classes, and this is when Aizawa tells the class that there's going to be a sports festival, and this is a good opportunity to show off your powers so you can get an internship. So everyone's excited to show off their power. And we get to lunchtime, and this is around the point where All Might actually invites Deku to have lunch with him so he could explain more of his power and talk about how the sports festival is a great opportunity to show off your powers so you can get more internships. Alright, and this is also around the time where he talks about how in the future you're going to have to face All For One. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is around the time that he actually tells him. And he says that, one day you're going to have to face him alone. Alright, and Deku's like, I believe that in this scenario, he'd be kind of shocked to hear what he just said, because, he's always looked up to All Might in a way. But he says that, I can do it, right? And All Might's reassured. So we get later on to the day after school, and they have that week to train. So I think that Deku, in this training, he would find out that he doesn't need that much of his body between two objects to actually go between dimensions. So this is where he finds that out, because you only need an infinitely small piece of yourself to be in between two objects, right? This is explained in Steel Ball Run. So the way that he would train is that he would try to use All For One, or One For All, with his normal body, right? To kind of test out the waters and see how it functions, right? So he would try to put a little bit of power to see, what's its limit. So how much he could control, and he would try to do this, and then he would try to transfer that energy towards D4C, because I think it would work that way. If Tokiyami got One For All, I think he'd be able to transfer that energy with to his Dark Shadow. So I think it'd work the same way with D4C, and D4C's punches would be a lot stronger, right? And I think that Deku would actually try to use Love Train. If you don't know, in the last part, I think it was the last part where he actually got the hair from All Might and got One For All. There was this strange glow, but he doesn't know what it is. But All Might put the idea of it might be evolving your quirk in Deku's mind. So he's trying to test out different things to kind of activate it. So I think after a while he'll get the glow on him, but I think that it would have a time limit, and it doesn't work the same way as it is in a regular JoJo. So what I mean by that is it's gonna work more like it does in the fighting games, where it's like a damage reduction. So projectiles aren't gonna work on him, but things like physical attacks are gonna do 90% less damage. And the way that damage is received for Deku, I think that his D4C, whenever it receives damage, I think it's proportional to how Deku gets damaged. So let's say that D4C gets exploded, and it does like it's able to get like a few scratches on D4C, so that scratches would also be on Deku, right? It's not like, oh, he gets exploded, so it's like the same explosion to Deku and Deku would die. Now I think it's more proportional to how how good like D4C's defense is. So what he would try to do is, he would try like a couple ways to figure out what this like light would be. So he would like fight. He would train with like Tokiyami to kind of see this, right? Because they have similar kind of like quirks, and I think they have some sort of like connection through that. So they would have their quirks fight, and this is when Deku actually uses his love train ability to actually see what it does. And the attacks that Dark Shadow are actually doing to D4C are becoming less and less. I don't think damage is transferred to Tokiyami when he uses Dark Shadow. So I think that love train should be around 5 minutes long. I think that's a good enough time to actually do anything with it. So they kind of train, and Deku will try to find different ways that he's able to go between two objects. And for my for that ability D7, some person in my comments said that there should be more limits to it because it's kind of overpowered. There are already limits on it, but I think there should be more, because the only limits that there are for the ability is that D4C has to be within range of them, and he has to embrace them, and it takes a little bit of time. But that's kind of it. It doesn't, I never really explained like how many times you could use it or like things like that. So we could just come up with if you have any ideas, you can just comment down below. But I think for now, I think there should be some sort of cooldown on it, like around probably like 3 hours for the healing part, right? To switch out your a person's like body with an alternate dimension version. And I think that the other limit should be that you can't like switch out that person's body with like a better version, like Midoriya did, where he switched out his body with a more physically built and taller version of himself. So I don't think like they would get like a better version of himself. They would just get like a version of themselves where it's healed, right? So we get to the day of the sports festival, and everyone's in that changing room, telling they're getting ready to actually go up stage to make that speech. So the one that makes the speech, I would believe it'd be Yuarashi, since I think in the recommendation like exam, I think he'd do so well that he'd be recognized as the class representative. Not class representative. Yeah, I think that's what it's called, right? Or the freshman representative. So I think he'd make a speech, and he'd be really enthusiastic because of how his personality is, and so people would cheer. He'd say something like, "Today you get to see, future heroes do their best." And I'm, it's very exciting to see everyone, with different quirks try, beat one of another. So people would like I said, they'd be excited since he's kind of like the hype man. And, it'd be the first part of the, the cavalry race. Not cavalry race, the obstacle course. So what would happen is everyone and all the students would try to rush through the main exit, and this would cause it would cause like everyone would get stuck because everyone was trying to get past each other. So what Deku would do is that he would take off his his like sports festival uniform, just the top half. I'm pretty sure they're not in one piece. So he would take it off, and then he would just kind of dive into like the ground, just like how Funny Valentine does it with his flag. Because he can't use his own clothes. Like he has to take it off. I'm pretty sure to use it like that. So that's what he does, right? And the other side, he would get onto the other side, or he would reappear on the other side where everyone's like not stuck. But he loses his jacket, right? Or whatever that is. So he would run towards, he would try to run near to the finish line. But, this is when Todoroki and Bakugo actually, come through. And the other class 1A students come through also. And Todoroki would do that thing to freeze the ground. But I think at first Deku would actually get stuck for a bit, but since he's stronger in this one, I think he'd be able to get himself out of this. So what I think would happen next, to try to get a bigger lead, I think Deku would have D4C actually throw him, since it's kind of like a stand jump. If you don't know what that is, it's like using your stand to like jump higher than usual, and like using the stand to like grab on to like things that are out of your reach. This happens in like part 3 with Jotaro, and it happens also in part 4 with Josuke and his friend. I forgot his name, but yeah, it'd be something similar where D4C would throw him, and this would give him a kind of a speed boost. And this is the part where Todoroki would freeze parts of the robot to make it crash. Deku would go just past it, since he doesn't really care about it. So what would happen is that it'd be Bakugo and Todoroki neck and neck, since they're the fastest, and Deku would get a piece of the rubble, knowing that he can't catch up to them. So what would happen is Todoroki, he would just go past the what's it called, the landmines, and Bakugo would also do this, but I think Todoroki would be faster, and I don't think they would activate the bombs or the landmines, because they didn't really do that during the anime until they were getting rushed by Midoriya. So I think it'd be a very close match between the two, but I think Todoroki would get the edge. So it would be, and then Yuarashi would obviously be in this race also, and I think it'd be a kind of a near Yuarashi, since he could use his air, he could go pretty fast, and he doesn't have to touch the ground, so he wouldn't activate any of the landmines either. And I don't think that Todoroki, in the recommendation kind of thing, the recommendation like exam, I don't think he was actually trying that much, because he doesn't really care. So I think Yuarashi and Todoroki would be around the same speed, if not one a little bit faster than the other. And I think that number 1 would go to Todoroki, and number 2 would actually go to Deku. And because I say this is because when he took a piece of that rubble off the robot, he actually used it to go in between 2 objects, and he reappeared on the back of Todoroki. And then 3rd would be Yuarashi, and then 4th would be Bakugo. So Todoroki would be angry that Deku kind of used them to get to the finish line, but Yuarashi's just there like thinking like, oh, that was a pretty smart idea. He used that on me during the recommendation, because Todoroki would know about this because he was there. So he's angry that he did another dirty trick, you know what I mean? So I think I'm gonna end it here. I'm sorry that this part is shorter than usual. I just got a lot of stuff to do, and that's the reason why I didn't upload yesterday. So we're almost at 500 subscribers. I'm thinking of doing a Q&A. So later I'm going to, maybe when I get close to 500, I'm going to do a Q&A video where I'm going to, well, not a Q&A video, but like a video asking for questions. And then I'm going to use that video and all the comments down as, you know, the questions I'm going to use on the Q&A. So when I get around 500, I'm going to do it. So yeah, just look forward to that. So for the Danny Phantom series, I'm still kind of working on the story for that, because I'm trying to find a way where I could have Deku give One for All to someone else, because I don't really think he needs it anymore. So I think that, this is gonna be the end of the video. So yeah,